champs in South Australia, none better than our next guest. I'll just give you a little build-up. I can't give you the whole resume about him because the interview would be over before we get to him. I'm talking about Regan Fathers, who joins us, volleyballer. So represented South Australia in beach volleyball and indoor volleyball. So he's a multi-purpose vehicle. Played college in Canada, a University of Cowbridge, pretty good one, also at Red Deer. He won 2 national championships there in the CCAA. He was a player of the year. So we're talking about a guy who's pretty good.
Yes.
Played professionally also in Finland and Austria, and he's currently playing here with us, mate, and dominating. And he's coaching as well, mate. He's doing it all at the moment. Mate, appreciate your time, Regan. I know you're a busy man. Pretty short and brief, mate, but you're a pretty young fella. You've done a fair bit in a short period of time.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure, obviously being exposed to so many different branches of volleyball at a young age, both beach and indoor. They had a lot of different pathways for me to engage with. National teams had their different opinions on which way you wanted to go, and it was a difficult pathway, but I always enjoyed the team atmosphere of indoor volleyball, just the more people on the court, and that guided me overseas, so it's presented me with a lot of opportunities.
Mate, is that why you didn't go with beach? Because you obviously would have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But the indoor, like you said, gives you more opportunity to get overseas.
Yeah. I think a big thing for me, weighing up the both, I felt like I was pretty talented at both. I could have gone either way, but just having that team environment, being around more people. Beach volleyball, you've just got your one partner and, potentially a coach as well. I like that team mentality. I grew up playing basketball, grew up around team sports, so having, six guys on court and potentially a team of 12, 15 guys just was more my sort of style.
Introduced to volleyball through the special interest program at school.
Yeah.
This is what gets me. I love this.
Heathfield.
I love this because, the way the sports go around and they identify players or whatever. I mean, look at Regan. You could have played... You would have played a few sports?
Yeah, I played a few sports growing up.
But why volleyball?
Funny story with volleyball, actually. I went to Heathfield initially just because it was my local school. Grew up in Norton Summit. And I wasn't part of the volleyball program at the start. I was just a regular PE kid, and I was in the gym playing handball one day with some friends, and the coach came up to me and said, "Hey, you're pretty tall, pretty athletic. Have you thought about playing volleyball?" And I initially said no. I'm like, no, I don't like volleyball. Volleyball is a girls' sport. But then I actually got a chance to watch it and engage with the sport, and then I gave it a shot, and the rest is history. It took me overseas, gave me a living.
Mate, when you walked in today, you're limping.
Yeah.
You were limping. I saw you coming across car park, and I thought he won't play Saturday. He's out for sure. What have you done?
So just unfortunate freak accident happens sometimes in volleyball. On Saturday we were playing Mount Lofty, the #1 team in the league right now. They're having a ripper of a season, undefeated at the moment. Just a player and I got too close to the net, happened to come down on his ankle, so slight ankle sprain, just kind of nursing it at the moment, hoping to rest up for finals.
Yeah, look a bit more than a sprain, but then again...
I mean, let's touch on the two overseas experiences because they're different. There's the college experience and then there's the professional experience.
Yeah.
The college lifestyle, how'd you like the college lifestyle?
It was interesting. It was a lot more intense than I initially thought because, I initially thought, this will be great. I'll go over, I'll play volleyball at a high level and I'll study. But the concept of actually studying full-time and playing volleyball full-time was a mix that I wasn't necessarily anticipating because you're training at a professional level, once, twice a day with games on the weekends, you're traveling, flying, and then you've got to balance a full course load as well so that by the end of your eligibility, you graduate. So it was very intense, and then the dynamic transferring to professional was all of a sudden I have all this free time, whether you want to rest up and watch some TV or play some video games or go to the gym, you have a lot more time free to be a little bit more social. But going overseas as well, if you want opportunities professional for volleyball, you got to go to Europe or not necessarily English speaking countries. So that sort of step into a country where they didn't speak my language and I was in their territory and I was the foreigner was quite an interesting mix where Canada had that very similar culture to us here in Australia, other than the fact that it's minus 20 degrees every day.
Hey, mate, you played in Finland, you played in Austria. Did you have a preference? Which one you liked?
Oh, I really enjoyed Austria. I enjoyed experiences both equally. Being able to be paid to play a game that you love is, you can't take that for granted.
Would that be the best league? Do you reckon the European League volleyball's the best?
Yeah, European League. There's a bunch of different opinions. I think probably Italy's the best league in my opinion. It's got the broadest talent. I was probably in that B-C league essentially, being Finland and Austria. Didn't quite reach the top, but I'd probably have to lean towards Austria. Slightly nicer weather. I had a really good city that I was living in as well. Finland was just dark and cold all the time, so it was an interesting experience.
Your team in Austria made up of nationalities, probably all different. If you're a professional team, not going to be all Austrians.
No. So we had,
Aussies.
well, for example, the guys that I live with, I had a Canadian and I lived with a Brazilian. We also had Slovakians, Austrians, I think we had Germans. So usually with international teams in Europe, you just kind of pick and choose from wherever you can. The golden ticket for volleyball is that European passport though. So, you know, if you have that European passport, it's kind of a gateway to every team you want to.
Sure
So how do you get on with contact? How do you get on with the language? Did you learn a little bit? Did you try and learn a little bit?
I tried. You know, typically a contract in Europe for volleyball is 8 months. Players tend to bounce around a fair bit. Then, you know, say for example in the AFL here, you sign longer contracts. You do your best to learn the language, but in less than a year you can only learn so much, and most of the places you go to have English-speaking individuals. If not within the club you play for, they have English speakers as well. So.
Okay.
Hey mate, you're an assistant coach with the successful under-19 state team. You're the head coach of the under-18 team, so that's coming up pretty shortly.
Yeah, coming up in the end of September.
How are you finding the mix between playing and coaching at the same time?
It's interesting. You know, coming back to South Australia, I had such a wealth of knowledge from different countries. I just wanted to give back. I knew the value that I had when I was a junior athlete, having a high-level coach that, you know, had recent experience. The mix is interesting because, you know, I go from playing and then immediately coaching, sometimes vice versa. So, you know, I have to sometimes shut off my playing brain because my playing brain and coaching brain is very different. I'm a very competitive individual but like to give a lot of technical feedback. So, yeah, it's quite a dynamic, but it's enjoyable.
Mate, we're watching basketball explode at the moment. The Australian Volleyball League, how's that starting to look?
Yeah, the AVL, it's a really exciting time for not just Volleyball South Australia, but Volleyball Australia in general, because we haven't been able to participate in the AVL for a couple of years with everything due to COVID. Because it's a fly-in, fly-out sort of roster. You know, there's a lot of exciting talent coming back because it hasn't been around for 2 or 3 years, so people don't know whether it's going to be around for too long. So you've got a lot of people who have potentially come back from professional contracts who are jumping at the opportunity, chomping at the bit to get a part of this high-level team.
Wow, yeah.
And mate, just quickly, the State League is going at the moment. If I want to go down and watch a game, where would I go?
Where would you go?
Yep.
Oh, honestly, take a look at the draw. Look at the top couple of teams.
Website?
Sorry? Yeah,
website?
absolutely. On the Volleyball SA website. I think it's a pretty tight-knit competition between the top 4 at the moment, and there's, you know, only 2 rounds left. So these last 2 rounds will be the deciding factor for that top 4 finish.
So where's your home court, mate?
So we play at the Lightsview Community Centre. I play for Norwood Bears.
Ripping setup.
Great.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I've jumped on the Norwood Bears, mate. Is that the team I want to be on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Regan, really appreciate your time, mate. You've had an outstanding career, mate. Hopefully your ankle comes good. Nice boot that you're wearing, mate.
Thank you.
You're back on the court before too long. Stay with us. Still, a bit more to come.